Today I'm going to give you an introduction on genocides. And if you remember, we all talked about at least one genocide before we got out for the coronavirus, and that genocide was the Holocaust. And so a genocide is when a person or a group of people seek to wipe out another group of people based on race or ethnicity or some defining characteristic. It has to be a significant amount of people in order for it to be considered a genocide. You guys are going to research the different genocides that you are required to know. I'm going to provide you just an overview of what a genocide is. Genocides are considered to be an international crime. There is actually the Genocide Convention that was held after World War II as a result of the Holocaust. During the Holocaust, 6 million Jews were killed, along with 6 million other people that Hitler also did not like. And the Holocaust, because of the horrors of the Holocaust and the way that Hitler worked to systematically kill people, really brought the concept of genocide to the forefront. There have been genocides before then, and there have been genocides since then. So it could be killing or causing seriously bodily harm, putting them in a living condition that is trying to ruin the group of people. All of these are things that are considered to be part of a genocide. For example, right now in China, there is a group of people called the Uyghurs. It's spelled kind of different. It's Uighurs, and definitely a different way of saying it. So the Uyghurs live in the northern part of China near Mongolia. They are actually a Mongolic Turkic people, and they are Muslim. They are one of the minority groups in China, and the Chinese government does not like the Uyghurs and has been systematically trying to get rid of them. One of the things that they have done, and this has been hard to find information because the Chinese government has been hiding this, but they actually have moved them and put them into camps. So they're taking them away from their homes. They are restricting their movements. We are unsure about how many of them are disappearing or being killed. Right now in Myanmar, there has been a genocide going on. And so getting information sometimes can be difficult, but we know that there are genocides still happening. So the genocides that we're going to focus on are the genocides of the 20th century. So we have the Armenian Genocide, which happened in the Ottoman Empire. And this genocide is so debatable that the official position of the Turkish government is that the Armenian Genocide did not happen. Now, every other country pretty much disagrees with them on that. What happened is that the Armenian Christians were basically told to leave their homes. They were forced out of their homes, and about 1 million Armenians were killed in that process. We have a great book in the library called Water on Stone that talks about this. There have been 2 recent movies that discuss the Armenian Genocide. The Promise, it very much discusses this, so much so that it was not allowed to be shown in Turkey. The kind of Turkish side of the Armenian Genocide is shown in a different movie called The Ottoman Lieutenant. The next genocide that we have is the genocide that was done by the Nazis in Germany, and not just, of course, in Germany, but across other parts of Europe, and that is the Holocaust. There are so many great movies and books that deal with the Holocaust. Mrs. Schatz has just released some audiobooks and ebooks, and there is a great one called Prisoner B, I forget the exact part, like 0287 or something like that, by Alan Gratz, that talks about what it was like to be a Jew during this time period. Many of you have seen The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. The Diary of Anne Frank is fantastic as well, and that is available for you to watch. The Soviet Union, so what Stalin, the second leader of the Soviet Union, did during the Great Purges, where 20 to 40 million people were killed. Specifically, he worked to systematically starve and kind of wipe out, especially the people of the Ukraine. The Ukraine was the breadbasket of the Soviet Union, and there's a great movie called The Bitter Harvest that shows a lot of this. But Stalin, the way that he got rid of anybody opposed to him and the things that he did to people, especially in the Ukraine, that were starved during this time period was actually horrific. Cambodia is probably one of the smaller deaths in the fact that it was only 2 million people, but the fact that Cambodia's population was so small, the estimates are that 20 to 25% of Cambodia's population was wiped out during the Cambodian Genocide. What happened was there was a man by the name of Pol Pot who rose to power, and he led a group called the Khmer Rouge. And their goal was to create an agrarian utopia, so this perfect farming society. He was communist, and so he started to get rid of anybody who spoke against him. And he wanted to get rid of any intellectuals, anybody who might challenge him. So they started getting rid of people who spoke a foreign language, even people who wore glasses or owned a passport. He also specifically targeted Buddhist monks. And so a lot of horrific things happened during this time period. People literally were just dropped and killed in rice paddies. So you'd be walking along and then suddenly you're stepping on a skull. It's actually horrific what happened to people. There's some books. There's also a movie called The Killing Fields that is well done. It's a little slow in some parts, but it's a very well done movie. I've watched it a couple of times that deals with this. Rwanda is one of the really sad ones for me because Rwanda is not that long ago. It's during my lifetime. And Rwanda, what happened was there was two ethnic groups, the Hutus and the Tutsis. And the Hutus basically sought to wipe out the other group. And they used machetes and they went out and just killed people. And they did it based on how people looked, which was a real problem because people had been intermarrying, and so that wasn't always necessarily true. Hotel Rwanda is fantastic and movie that really talks about what happened there, and it's based on a true story. The United Nations was there, but the United Nations is not allowed to get involved militarily. And so it was basically the world just kind of watched it happen. And in a period of 3 months, almost 1 million people were killed. Bosnia was also during my lifetime. This is in Yugoslavia, which Yugoslavia doesn't exist anymore. It broke up after this, or right about the same time period. Yugoslavia, of course, was created after World War I. And this was between Christians and Muslims, and absolutely horrific things. Sometimes some of the pictures from Bosnia, it looks like you're looking at Holocaust victims, the way that they were starved and treated. Probably one of the most famous genocides currently happening today is in Darfur, which is in southern Sudan. And that is, again, between Christians and Muslims. And I have posted in the Google Sites page, there is a great link to a article on Scholastic that talks about what is happening there as well as about what's happening in Myanmar. So you're going to do what we would have done in class, like a jigsaw. You're going to look at all the different readings that are on these different genocides that we need to know for our SOLs. And one of the great sources that we're going to use is from a website called A World Without Genocide. And I've saved PDFs for you for each of the genocides. And we're going to identify how many people were killed, where, who was doing the killing, kind of to understand like what was happening.